So what is Paracord? Maybe you have friends who talk about it, or you've been told you need some for your upcoming camping trip. Whatever the case may be, this video is all about Paracord and what to do with it.
The history of Paracord begins with the invention of nylon in DuPont laboratories.
So Paracord was produced to take the place of silk parachute lines when the Allied forces were at war with the world's largest producer of silk, Japan. Since then, it has proved incredibly useful for field utility use. There are many different sizes of paracord, but when most people talk about paracord, they're talking about 550 cord. The number represents how much static weight can hang from one cord without it breaking. 550 cord can hold 550 pounds. It should be noted that 550 cord is not for climbing. You can take a look at all the different kinds of paracord on the Paracord Planet website. The most common use of paracord, and most people's introduction to it, is the Paracord survival bracelet. Made using a simple square knot, or cobra weave as people like to call it. Anyone can carry up to 10 feet of paracord around the wrist to be used in an emergency, or for more mundane uses, like tying a door open so you can carry in your new armchair all by yourself. While the practicality of these bracelets has been a huge topic of discussion over the years, no one can deny their popularity. But bracelets aren't the only thing that people make out of paracord. Paracord crafting ranges from lanyards to space nets to giant sculptures of woolly mammoths. You're limited only by your imagination. Be sure to check out the rest of our channel, as well as our blog, to learn more about the usefulness and versatility of paracord. And consider subscribing so you can get updated every time we put out a new tutorial video. So now that you're familiarized with paracord, let's make a basic survival bracelet to get a grasp on the basics of paracord crafting. To make a bracelet, start with about 8 to 10 feet of paracord. If you buy it from Paracord Planet, it's going to come in a 10-foot length, and that'll work just fine. Find both ends, and that's going to help you find your middle. We'll start weaving here. Make about 6 inches, and then fold the cord back on itself so that it looks like an M. And then we're going to begin the cobra weave or square knots. Start out by putting the right cord over the middle, and then the left cord over the top of that one, but around the back of the middle, and up through this loop. And then pull that cord, that knot tight. You want to make sure that this weave is shorter than the length around your wrist, because we'll have a closure that takes up a few inches. Tie another square knot, but this time the opposite way. So the left over the middle, then the right over that cord, around the back and through the loop, and pull that one tight against it. We're going to be sticking some cord through these 2 loops later. You want to leave 2 Mickey Mouse ears for later. We'll continue with our pattern. Right over middle. And then left over middle, all the way down the bracelet till we get to the end. So now that we made it to the bottom, we're just going to leave a small loop on this end as well for the cord to go through. If the cord has factory ends on it, it might not fit through the loop quite as well. It'll often look like this. So you may need to melt down the end to make a little bit more of a point. If you touch this with your fingers afterwards, it'll definitely stick to you and burn you, but you can use scissors sometimes to work it into a point. So that should be good enough for what we're doing. So this one on the right side, we ended with it going up. We're going to come up through the bottom of that hole. And with this other one, I've already melted that down. I'm going to be putting that downward through the hole. pull those as tight as they'll go. So that's the majority of our bracelet, and now we're just going to make the closure. So this right side cord is going to go through the right side loop that we left, and left to left. Now that we have our cord through those loops, you can spread your weave apart to tighten down those holes so that the bracelet won't loosen on its own. And then now it's time to try it on your wrist to make sure it's the right size and that you have enough slack to get it over your hand. So put it on your wrist, tighten it down, and then getting it off, just give yourself enough for it to fit over the widest part of your hand, and that's where we're going to want to make our knot. So keep your fingers there as you pull it off, and we're just going to tie a simple overhand knot in both cords, just over and through. And cinch that right up against those knots. This is a good starter bracelet because you don't have to make it exactly the right size. It's adjustable. So after making that, you can cut off your ends. Cut them about 1/4 inch from the end. I like to go even a little less than that. And then we'll melt the ends again. And on a knot like this, after I melt it, I just push it flat against the knot. And that way it won't pull through because it has a nice flat end on there. If you want to round it off a little bit so it doesn't catch on clothing, I often do that. So there's your first survival bracelet. You can do this in a lot of different ways. Many people use plastic buckles to put on instead, but if you're first getting into paracord, it might be easiest to do something that doesn't involve other hardware. In the description, we'll provide a link to our website, as well as links to specific articles that cover some basics of paracord crafting. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media for lots of paracord inspiration and tutorials. Thanks for watching.